Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and for part one of a year of granny squares, I'm going to show you how to do this really cute heart granny square. Now, I've got two in front of you because I wanted to show you the two different ways. Now, because you're changing colour fairly often, there tends to be a lot of ends, and a lot of people don't like ends sewing in. Some don't mind, but I'm going to show you the way that I've done this. This is the carrying your yarn. Is it? Or this one? Yeah, this is the carrying your yarn method. And as you can see, you're going to see this. And I'm not keen. I don't know about you, but that kind of, it's not so prominent on the front, although you can see that white there. The colour changes in this are so stark that you're going to see it. So unless you want to do really pastel shades that might hide each other, then you're not going to get this look. I don't like the carrying the yarn, but I did it this way to show you how that's going to look. And you only get like 3 little ends, but you get this. And that's already kind of bulging. So, you know, that's horrible. Don't like that at all. This way I did change colour, and as you can see, it's a lot nicer than the other way. Now, as you can see, I have 3 ends because of the way that I carried my tails. Okay, so I'm going to show you this way, and hopefully I'm not going to mess up because it can get confusing. So it's all right when you're doing it for yourself. Now I'm doing this with a 4.5mm crochet hook, and I have some fairly kind of standard thickness DK yarn. Okay, so I'm going to start with a magic loop. You can start with chaining 4 and joining them together, but you won't get a tight, you won't be able to do that and get a really tight middle. But if you don't mind the little circle in the middle, then that's fine. I did both that way, but I haven't secured them. So you can see if you did a 4 chain method, you're going to get a hole a little like that. But my method of doing the magic loop is extremely easy. And since I started showing everybody how to do this, I've noticed other people showing it too. So it's that easy. But the trick with this is always leave a nice long tail with everything you're doing so that you can easily sort that out. So make sure you've got enough yarn for your project, whatever it is you're going to do. So there we are. I'm going to show you again. I did that too quick, didn't I? It's that simple. You make a loop and then you bring the yarn through the loop. It's easier to do than to show. And you've done it, really, haven't you? So I'm going to make my chain to secure it. And there it is. I'll show you once more. You make a loop. You bring the yarn through the loop. And you've done it, really, haven't you? One more time. It's so simple. Usually I do it with my hook. I just poke my hook in, bring the yarn through, and do my chain. So there we are, we're done. Okay, I won't show you anymore. Let me just tilt this down a little bit. Okay, I possibly should have used a different colour crochet hook for this. I'm wondering if I know where my 4.5 is. No, I don't. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start how I start all my projects now. And that with the stack stitch. I call it the stack because if you're using UK terms, it's a stacking double. And if you're using US terms, it's a stack single. So I just pop my hook in that ring, yarn over and pull up the loop, yarn over and pull through both. And then this one loop at the side, there's your stitch. This one here, I'm just going to pop my hook in, yarn over and pull through that. So I've got 2 on my hook again, yarn over, pull through both. So why do I do that? Because when I go round and I get to my, if you had 2 chains, some people say 3, but when you get round, you've got 2 loops to go into, just like a normal stitch. It's so much easier, it really is. Okay, so we're going to start this the way we start every granny square. So we're going to do 3. So that's my first. And these are treble stitches in the UK, double crochets in the US. So what I'm going to do is I have some tutorials for the magic loop and for these stitches, and I'm going to try and remember to put those in the description box if you need them. So I've got my 3 stitches. I'm going to do 1 chain, 3 more, and then 1 chain. So I want a total of 4 segments. These are my segments, and I want 4, or clusters or shells, whatever you usually call them. So this is my 3rd one. If I go too fast for you, please just pause me and catch up. I know that we don't all crochet at the same rate, and I want to make sure I get this boring bit out the way for you. Okay, so there we are. We've got 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to pull that a little tighter. Not too worried about it at the moment. But there we are. I'm going to go into the top of my stack, which, as I said before, we've got those nice 2 loops to go in. And I'm going to pull up a loop. I'm not going to do a slip stitch. I'm going to do a UK double or a US single crochet in that space. So what I've done is I've made a space, the same as I have my chain spaces. I've got the same amount of space between that cluster and this. So delving back into that where you would normally have a chain space, but we've got that. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to do my first stitch, which is always my stack. Okay, so I've done my first part. I'm going to go into that side, and I'm going to do my second one to get up to the height. Right, there we are. So I'm going to do 2 more UK trebles or US double crochets. So that is half of a corner. If I bring my one in, we're now on this row here, right? And as you can see, it is still a traditional granny square. So with my granny squares, I don't chain in between my segments, clusters or shells. I only chain 1 in the corner. So I'm going to do my first proper corner, and that consists of my 3 stitches, 1 chain, 3 more in the same space. That's my first full corner. This one's half. Go into my next space, and I'm going to do another full corner, so no chain between. One chain in between my parts of the corner, 3 more in the same space. Okay. And then I'm going to do another full corner in this one. Just as before. And that brings me back to the start. And I have to complete this corner. So I'm going to do that by making 3. And I'm going to do what I did before, go to my top. So you've got those 2 loops, top of my stack. And I'm going to do my UK double US single in there. Okay, so now we're going to be doing this part, this row here. And as you can see, there's a few colour changes on it. So in this round, we're going to make a full corner, 1 part of the side, and then we're going to do a whole corner in the new colour, bring back the pink to make just this 1 segment, bring back the white to make a full corner, and then we're going to go back to the pink to finish off, and then we're going to do this 1 in white, and that creates the heart shape, but it also means it's a tad tricky and you can go wrong. So let's hope we don't. Right then, so we're going to start with half a corner by going into this one again and doing that stack. Okay, and then 2 UK treble crochets, US double crochets. And that'll be half of our corner. And then we're going to do one side, but for the last stitch we're going to change colour. So I'm going to just do 2 for now and half of a third, and then I'm going to bring in my colour, which is white on this occasion. I'm just going to remove that and put it over there and bring up my white one, and I've made a slip knot. It's a bit baggy, that slip knot. Let's make it a bit smaller. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold on to this at the back so that this loop here doesn't get really baggy, and then I'm just going to finish this stitch by pulling that new colour through. Okay, so if it does get a little baggy, just pull that down and it will kind of stop it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to work over this. So I'm doing a combination of working over, that's fine, this one is the right colour, you won't see it. And what I'm going to do here, I'm going to yarn over with my tail and my working yarn, and I'm going to go into my corner, but not pull up a loop with both. I'm just going to drop this white one. So now I'm working over the pink and the tail of the white. I'll bring up my loop. Now it looks like I have 4 loops on the hook, but this one is just the loop and the tail. So I'm going to yarn over and go through all 3 of those. Finish my stitch by yarning over and going through both. Now this one, as you can see, if you pull it tight, it does disappear. So if it gets a little baggy, that part, just do that. Now we're going to work over the tail and the pink by completing a full corner. Just as before, 1 chain and then 3. Okay. But we only want the corner in the white, so I'm going to, on the last stitch, I'm going to just do 2. So what we're doing this part, okay? So I'm going to drop this white now under there, behind there, and I'm going to finish that stitch in the pink. So you can give it a little tug, make sure it doesn't get too buggy. Okay, now I'm going to cut this off because I need to bring that back in a minute. I'm just going to take that down and bring this one back up again. Right, so I'm not going to work over those white tails because that's why I don't like the look of that. Okay, so I'm going to do, we're now coming back. So we've done we're here. Right, so we've got half a corner and we've just done that. So now we're going to just do this one segment in our pink, just the one. See, it's easy, I know, if you wanted to just work over those colours, but you get those quite nasty transitions. We're changing colour, so we're just going to drop that. I'm going to bring the white back. I need a little bit of yarn off of there, I think, so it's not quite so stiff. Bring the white back. Just going to make a slip knot. Nice long tail, just in case you do want to sew it in. You can just snip it off. My fingernails are too long, guys. I'm going to have to cut them. They're actually hindering me now. I keep meaning to cut them, but I can't find the clippers. Okay, so I'm holding on to that again, so it doesn't make that all baggy. And I'm going to bring my colour. Now I'm going to do that full corner again. So I'm going to work over this pink. I'm going to bring both my colours, both my tail rather and my working yarn, and then I'm going to drop that, so I'm working over the tail and the pink, and I'm going to go through 2, oh well 3 really, but pull that down so you can't see it, and now I'm going to complete that full corner again in this white, apart from the last stitch, which I will change colour again because we only want the corner in this white. Okay, so now I'm going to drop the white, and without tangling my yarns up, which is the major feat, I'm going to hold on to this so it doesn't make it baggy. I'm going to bring my colour back. Forget the tail now, you've worked over it. Just move it out of the way. That's the working yarn. I was holding that, it just dropped. So I'm going to finish my stitch with that colour. So now we've got what looks like ears. And I'm going to do my side. I'm not working over any tails now. And then I'm going to do a full corner in the pink. So really, basically, all you need to remember is that with your alternate colour, which in my case is white, all I want to do, I'm going to undo that last part in a sec. All you want to do is the corner and this middle part. So again, I'll drop this. I want to pull off a little bit of yarn because it's very tight otherwise. And I'm going to cut this because it's still attached. Okay, nice long tail in case I want to sew it. And that can go over here. I'll bring in my white again. And I'm going to make my little slip knot. Easier said than done with these nails. Oh, it went well that time. Not usually have long nails like this. They usually break by now. So I'm holding on to that with my finger so it doesn't go all baggy. And I'm going to pull that. Oh, actually, I've got to undo it first, haven't I? Silly me. I'm just going to undo that stitch and start again. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to that. Bring in my new colour, finish that off. I'm holding that at the back so it doesn't get all baggy. It still does a little bit, but you can pull it down, so just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to work over the pink again, and I'm going to yarn over with both my tail as well as my yarn, drop the tail, work over those three. And then don't forget, if that's gone a tad baggy there, you just give it a tug, disappears. Finish my stitch in this colour, except for the last two, of course, because I'm now going to drop that white. In fact, I'm going to cut that white off and move it out of the way. Bring my colour back in. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to hold on to that because it's become baggy. See, you only have to do this to get it back to normal and finish off the stitch. And then we complete the corner. Okay, so I'm doing that. I'm going to end. You can end with a chain there if you want, but I like to keep it consistent. Okay, so I'm just finishing the same way. Bringing that down. This time I'm going to cut it completely off. Don't need it anymore. So we have the start of the heart. I'm going to get rid of the colour. Now the whole round is white. Now remember I said didn't have all these tails? Well, that's because I've worked over these ones, so I'm just going to chop them off. Okay? They're gone. I've worked over these. So I'm just going to chop them off but if you wanted to sew them back through, just to make sure, you can. Now I've worked over these, but not very far. There's only been this part. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work over that in this round. I'm going to join my yarn at any corner, but I'm not going to join it at this one because I already have a tail to work over. So I'm going to work over it there. Okay, so as I've been doing a slip knot, I'm going to carry on and be consistent and do a slip knot there. But I don't normally join my yarn that way, but that's what I've been doing, so I will carry on. Okay, so here it is. Bring my slip knot through there. Okay, I'm going to do a chain to secure that down. Then I'm going to do a stack as usual. Don't worry if that looks a tad bulky. It doesn't matter, because we'll just pull that a little bit and we'll work over the other half of the corner anyway. So again, I'm going to do half a corner and I'm going to work over this tail. On the last stitch though, as I pull up my yarn, I'm just going to put that over my hook to go through my stitch. That's brought it up here. So now I can do the same thing as before to hide it. Again, give it a little tug so it looks normal size. And if you've still got a nice big tail, you can do it again. Or if you're doing another round, you could leave it there and work over it, you know, because that will be this part of the next round. So you can leave it there, work over it if you want. But I prefer doing this because I find that it's more embedded in round all those stitches. But this is the last time that I'm going to work over it this time. I'm going to snip it off. You can leave it and sew it back through if you really want to be secure. Okay, I didn't work over these, did I? I forgot to show you that. Never mind. We'll leave them. What I have done in the past, just a little trick, is I will feed them through. I've done that so many times, but I'll leave that one. I've shown you how I do it. So now I'm going to work over this yarn as well in the corner. So I'm going to go into my corner. It'll only work over half because the first half won't cover it. It will start getting there now. And then I'll be working over this tail. But as it's only really had half a corner, I don't consider it enough. So what I'll do is I'll just feed it through my work, going in. I do it through the back loop there, through 2 stitches like that. Now it's in another space to be worked over. So I'll work over it again. And I can do the same thing again if I want to. Cut it off if I want, or if I feel like I need to go one more time, because this is a nice kind of way of burying it without sewing it, because you know I hate sewing in my ends. Whoops. So we're just going to do the whole round. I mean, some people might consider this is just a bit of a faff, and it's much easier to just cut or sew them in rather. So now I'm just going to give that a little tug so it's nice and tight there. A little bit more of a tug so when I cut it, it disappears inside that 3 stitches. Now I'm going to do my corner. Well, I only forgot to do those white ones. So the centre one we have to do anyway because it is a magic loop. If you've done your 4 chain, then you've worked over it, you can cut it off. But mine is kind of a little bit more. That was an end to see it there. It would bury it now. Okay, we'll keep going. Go another corner, all the way around. Now with these granny square projects, some of these will have a little project at the end. So you can either just watch the granny square and then duck out, that'll be fine, or you can stay tuned and see what I do with these squares. So, and then there's at the end of the year, because this is a year of granny squares, what I intend to do then is all those squares that are the right kind of square, going to make them all the same size, say a 6-inch for instance, and then I'm going to make a blanket with them all, just a big blanket. Right, so we're back at the start again. So now we have our heart, there it is, and we've got this one. I've got 3 here, but I don't like that one, so I'm going to discard it. That was just to show you. So what do I do then? I'm going to finish off my little heart. You can finish off any way you want. You don't have to do the same as me, like with that little bit in the middle. But why I like doing that is because now, when I've finished, I'm in the dead centre. So if I'm starting to join these, then I'm right in the middle. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself for not showing you, not working this over, because I would have brought it up and worked over it. So I've got to sew that one, and I've got to sew that one. I'm going to work over this one, because what I'm going to do is, this is where I'm going to show you a little project with these squares. So you can either stay with me and see this little project through, or you can just say, right, that's the square, thank you very much, I'm off. Okay, so I'm going to bring this colour in, and I'm going to join it at a corner, but not the same corner as before. So I'm just going to join it this way because it's so much easier. Okay. Rightio. So I still need to make a chain to join, and I'm going to just do 1, 2 in that corner, UK double crochets, which are single crochets in the US. So I'm going to pull that aside, and I'm going to go into my first stitch, work over this tail, and I'm just going to do a UK double or US single in every single one all the way along this side. So I've only done 2 here. There's a reason for that. It's half a corner. I know 3 is not, but it does work out. I've done it so many times. So that's half a corner. So I'm going to go around this one all the way. It's working over the tail as I go. For some reason my wool genie is stuck. There we go. It's pulling out yarn now. It's spinning like a crazy thing now. Okay, so I'm going to carry on until I get to the end. So I'm going to do 3 in the corner. Okay, and then I'm going to do 1 in every single one all the way along this side, and that is a tad boring to watch, I know. So I'm going to pause the video, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 1 in each one across. I'm going to do 3 in the corners, and I'm going to do that all the way along, and I'll catch up with you when I get back to the start. Okay, so I'm nearly there. Once I got to that corner, I started to work over the tail, the white one that was in the corner there. So I just wanted to show you that. So I'm making my way to the end of this row. So as I started, I just did 2 in that first corner. Okay, I think I've worked over enough of that. I'm going to get rid of that because it's going to get in the way. Throw that aside. Okay, so I'm back at the corner. I'm going to do my 3rd stitch for the corner, and then I'm just going to slip stitch into the first one. So it does bring you straight back to the middle again. Okay, so now I'm going to leave a tail and chop it, because I need to do the same thing to the other one. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Once I've completed the border on this one, I will come back to you. Okay, so I got to the end. Now I'm going to leave a really, really long tail because I'm going to sew these together. And I would normally maybe crochet them together, but I'm going to sew them together. So this time I'm going to end off leaving this lovely big long tail. Because if I crochet them together, they're going to be very bulky. But the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these tails. So the centre one, it needs to be this horrible needle, isn't it? It's the only one I could find. You think, I have a craft shop, and yeah. So you would think that I could find all of my equipment quite easily, wouldn't you? Yeah, that would be quite a reasonable assumption. But I lose them just like everybody else. Okay, so now I've made a little knot. I'm going to go round. Not going to be easy. Getting this in there, it's quite tight. It's not going to. You don't have to be so, unless you're making a blanket or a cushion or something like that. You don't have to be really, what's the word I'm looking for? Neat, that's the word, with this, because it's going to be hidden on the inside, because I'm going to make a little gift bag, especially if as it's hearts on it. It's a great little gift bag to give for Mother's Day. I'm going to leave those until I found my other, but I just wanted to show you that center one because you need to secure it. So I secured it with a little knot and then sewed it in round and round and round. So this one I'm going to ignore for now because this is not the greatest needle. Oh, I don't know where I've put it, you know. But at least it's easy to see, and we're going to go through quite a few stitches. So what we want is them the right way round and back to back. So as you can see, we have it's not really the corner that I wanted to go on, so I'm going to have to go the wrong way. So they're both facing the right way out, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through, so we're right in the center, we're going to go through the corresponding stitch on the other one. There we go. Okay, so I want to leave a little bit of a ridge, so I'm not going to do this in an invisible way. I'm just going to go back and forth because I think if I did a slip stitch it's going to make too much of a fat ridge. That's the end, we're going to ignore that, and I didn't want that, but I wanted a nice ridge. So I find sometimes when you do sewing, it's still a ridge, but it's not bulky, not like if you were doing a slip stitch, because you've got extra stitches there that are causing that to be a bit more bulky. So we're just going to go all the way around this project, but leaving the top. So we're going to go around this edge, and we're just going to sew it back and forth all the way across there, and then all the way up, and we're going to stop when we get to here. And it's going to leave this quite a cute little kind of ridged top, or edge to it, should I say. Just going back and forth. With the same colour yarn, you're not going to see it. And incidentally, this is how I join my cushion at the bottom. Not what I normally do with a cushion is I'll do a slip stitch join all the way around, and then leaving the bottom so I can insert my cushion, and then I'll sew it like this, but I'll leave a little bit that I can see where it is, so that if I kind of pull it apart, I can see the stitches, and then I can like just snip that part and take it out completely, take my cushion out so that I can wash it, you know, wash the cover, and then I can just sew it back again when I put it back on. That way I don't need to put a zip in and buttons and all that stuff. Prefer just to sew it in, but you can leave it, or you can even use a slight shade lighter. Won't really notice at all. So I'm just going back and forth, sewing that together, and it is leaving a ridge, but it's not really altering the appearance, which I think a slip stitch join would do. So this is going to be a bit boring watching me do this, so I'm going to carry on. I'm going to go around this corner. I'm going to go all the way along here, around that corner. I'm going to stop when I get there, so I'm going to pause it then, and I'll meet you when I get to this point here. Okay, so here I am. I'm all the way, and so if I was to open this, you could see it's a little open, so I'm going to just do an extra kind of stitch to secure that there. Okay, and I don't really want it to be too tight. Pulled a little tight there, so I'm going to go inside here. I need to don't go through the same part or it will undo it. Just going to take that on the inside. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that that is kind of closed. Don't want it to gape. Let's go over it a few times. So how I did that knot before is this a similar way. Just go through the loop that you've made, pull it tight. Oops, not knock the camera at the same time. So now I'm just going to trace this back down to make sure that didn't come through. No, it didn't. and bury this in my work. Nope, didn't come through. That's fine. Just going to bring that. It's a big fat end, that's the trouble. I give these away, these particular ones, when I have orders in my shop. I usually just put little freebies in. They're okay for a little standby, but they're not the best, obviously. And I've got so many that are really good. What have I done with them? Okay, so I'm going to chop that off, move it aside. I will take care of the other ends later. So I've only done 2 sides. So now I've got to secure it and go down. I'm going to go down this side because I want the top end to look good. So I'm going to go back down that side and secure that. How I managed to do that, I'll never know. But unless we just want to make a project, I think. Okay. See, we all make mistakes, don't we? Yes, we do. Okay, so I'm going to start at this end so my top is nice and tight and secure. And I'm going to go down here and finish off just the same way as I did there. And I'll come back to you. Okay, mistake over. I like to leave them in just to show that we all do it. Okay, so now I've got my little bag. And this is going to be perfect for a little gift bag. And if you think about the different types of square you could put on, different types of motifs and things like that. If you made this slightly bigger, well, you didn't really have to make it bigger, but you could fill it with mini eggs, especially if we could find a design that was kind of Easterish. Okay, so I'm going to join it at the corner. I'm going to work over the tails. You know, all those tails that I just created by mistake. It's fine. Almost as if I left them there on purpose, isn't it? Don't you think? No. I hear you say. Okay, so I'm just going to join this. Oops, helps to bring the yarn with you. I don't like having 2 tails to work over, but my boo-boo. So there you are. Okay. So I've joined it at the corner. I'm going to work over the pink tail and the white tail. I'm going to try and get in there. That's tight stitch, but I'm going to get in through the 2 loops. Maybe not. Should I just do the 1? It might look nice to have a little ridge. I think it might. I'm going to do that. Change of plan. Go through the 1 loop. Okay, we're attached. And I'm going to just do the very first row. I'm going to just do a row of UK doubles or US singles. Work over these tails to bury them. But I'm going to go in the back loop only of my top stitch. So it does leave a little tiny ridge. It does look baggy at first, but it will be fine. Let's just tighten those tails that I'm working over. Bury those nicely. I'll cut it off in a minute. It keeps trying to go through the hook. Go away. There we are. Okay, I'm going to cut them off now. This is just a little bag. Okay. Yep. From aside, they never happened. There we are. Okay, so just all the way around the top. Taking care, not to split the yarn, taking care when you get to the join that you are consistent with the spacing of your stitches. What do I mean? Well, we're getting there, so let's have a look. So I've got 1 stitch here, and then I have 1 stitch here. So then I need to find corresponding stitch over here. Again, it's going to be tight because it's the one where I joined. Hook it. There we go. I nearly hooked it. Get in. Even the fingernails are not helping here because I'm on camera. It's not a very pointy hook for you will get in. Oh no, I won't, it says. Well, oh yes you will. I say. Hang on, don't want to make that too baggy, do we? Get that right. And then we just carry on. Not being dictated to by a stitch? No way, Jose. So we're going to work over this tail, which keeps, again, trying to pop through. So we just make sure that we give it a little tug now and then to keep it nice and taut. One more and I'll cut it off. There we go. Give it a snip. I always work over them as much as I can. Right, so we're nearly back at the start. And what I'm going to do in the next round is create a little area to put a tie. Okay? And a little border. We don't want it to be too big, but we want it to look kind of cute. So we're nearly back. There we are, the last one. I need to find my first. I'm just going to slip stitch into the first one. So there we are, we're back at the start. And that's what it's looking like now. So I'm going to create, like I say, a little way of weaving in. Let's get some yarn out. And I'm going to do that by making my next round. I'm going to do a chain and I'm going to pull it right low. Thought someone was coming in then. Pull it low so that it doesn't count. And in that first stitch, I'm going to do a half treble, which you call a half double across the pond. And I'm going to do one of those in each stitch. Now, that will create a nice taller stitch for me to put in a tie. Sometimes I'll do a stitch and then a chain and miss one, and then but I've found that this works just nicer. You don't get the gaps. But if it's quite a bulky yarn and a bulky project, then doing this sometimes works better. So you've got this gap to threadle it through, not fiddle it through, but threadle. But when it's DK or even an Aran yarn, which is a 4-weight across the pond, it's not that bulky, so it's fine. So we're just going to go one in every stitch. We're not doing back loops or anything like that now, just one all the way around. I should have paused it, shouldn't I? It's a bit boring. Shall I pause it? Yeah, I've still got a way to go. So I'm just going to pause it then, and I'll catch up with you when I get back to the start again. Okay, so I've made it all the way around. My last stitch there. Just going to join it with the slip stitch, because remember, my first stitch was a proper stitch. Okay, so now it's looking like this. I'm going to do one more row. So what I'm going to do is one more row, but I'm going to do as a Pico stitch rather than just an end off. So I want it to have a nice little frill. So I'm going to chain 3, and then I'm going to insert my hook into the first chain, and I'm going to yarn over and pull up a loop, and then I'm going to yarn over and pull through both of those. I'm going to skip one, and then I'm going to slip stitch into the next stitch, and that makes this little Pico. I'm going to do that again. Chain 3 into the first one, yarn over and pull up a loop, because I've got 2, yarn over and pull through both of those, skip one, and then go in the next one and do a slip stitch. I'm going to do that all the way around. So chain 3 into the first chain, pull up my loop, pull through both of them, skip one, and slip stitch into the next one. So when you're going round, sometimes you get round and you don't have enough. It doesn't work out, your stitches. And if that's the case, you can easily just do this. You can easily just, if you kind of skip an extra one in a space every now and then, I can make it a little bigger, a little tighter. It doesn't look too bad. So you can hide it if you if you're creative. Try and do it at a corner, you know, because in the next round, I'm going to show you how to make the tie, and it will pull it tight. So all of that will just look like a frill in any case. But that's how, if it were me and I ended up with one extra stitch, that's how I'd work it. If it was quite a big kind of bolt, like a stitch that was wider, I would treat it and I'd do another picot. But it's just basically trying to keep it consistent looking. Okay, so I'm going to pause it then. I'm going to go all the way around doing these picots. I'll catch up with you when I get back to here, and you never know, it might not work out. Let's see. Okay, I've got back to the start, and look at that, it worked out. So if it didn't, I would just do what I said, and I would have an extra one or one too few right here at the end. So I'm going to do a slip stitch, an end, and I will sew that in so it will look perfect. Okay, so now we have this little crown on top, and what I'm going to do now is make a tie. So how I usually do a tie, I have shown it once on my channel. I do a chain, but don't need a real long tail for this one either, because I'll just cut it off. Right, so I'm going to make it tight as possible, okay? And what I do is I do a chain and I pull it really low. Not really going to go low, this one. Why are you not going to go low? There we are. So pull a chain down, do a chain, pull it down. First one didn't work. Maybe it was the way I did it. Okay, we'll start again. There we go. It worked that time. Do a chain, pull it down really low. Chain, pull it down. And how we do that, we tug on this working yarn. So it's making a bit of an I cord. You see that chain is so... Where's my camera going? Why is it doing that? Shall I start again? I think I should, because I don't know where you went. Okay, so I'm going to do my slip knot. I'm pulling it down, do a chain and pulling it right down. Pull it right down. Okay, do a chain, pull it right down. Do a chain, pull it right down. And I'm going to do that until I get a tie. You see that little tiny, the way it works out, it's really hard to show you, but it's like the minutest of plaits. So what I have done in the past as well is I've made a long one of these and then I've made a chain with it. So it's really like a cord, but it's so much more like a bootlace. The normal chain is just very loose, and I'm not keen on a normal chain. But of course, this will take quite a while to make one. Okay, and there's no way of kind of really knowing. Basically, I think you just want one twice or 3 times as long as your space. But that's how I normally make my cords. I'm not going to do that today because it's going to take forever for you guys, and that's just annoying, isn't it? So when I do a cord, normally I will just do sort of around it, but twice around it. That's how I kind of normally judge. But we'll just do a normal chain because it will take forever to get that one done. But if you want that effect, see what I mean? Chain is okay, but it's not really that nice, is it? But if you kind of pull it down really tight, it becomes more of a lace, like a bootlace type thing. And that's how I usually do cords when I make baby mittens or booties or something, because it's nicer. And what I do with the end is I just cut it off. Usually doesn't come undone at all, so I just do that, and that's how it's never come undone yet. So just keep going. There's no actual set length. So let's have a look. So now at the moment, we probably, I don't know if that would be just a little too short. You just have to judge it really. If you imagine it, I think that's about right now. So I'm going to cut that off, pull it through. And I'm not going to cut it off yet because I want to bring in my needle because it's easier to weave it in with that. Okay, so let's move all this out of the way. Now we want to get to, I'm going to obviously tie these in. I want to get to kind of the middle. So we look up here and it's about there. So I'm going to hopefully go either side of this. But I'm just going to go in and out between my half treble crochets. And that way you still get that effect without the hole. But see, it's going to look nicer, I think, to leave. Hope I've done it long enough. If not, you can always make another one. Just judge it, really. It's all you can do. But it is just a simple little tie, so just pull it in and out. But by making it in the contrasting colour, I think it looks quite cute. It's amazing how what looks really long before you start threading it, it's not so much once you've once you've done it, it kind of works up a bit. How does that work? That goes in there and out there. No, it's because it's a fat one. There we go. I'll do it that way. Simpler. Okay, there we go. Oh no, nearly had it. Okay, so now I can get rid of that end. Pull it as tight as possible so it's really tight. And just snip it off. Okay, and then we have a little tie which we can pull it tighter and just do a little bow. There we are. There it is. How cute is that? So if you wanted to, you could make this bit longer. I didn't want to make it longer, which is quite cute as it is, but if you wanted to, you could do another row of UK double crochets or US singles if you wanted to have that a little bit looser. Don't have to pull it quite so tight. But yeah, that's my little bag. Isn't that cute? Super cute. There we go. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this part one of a year of granny squares. There'll be lots more projects coming. But yeah, I think that'll be nice. If you can make, say, for instance, like Mother's Day presents or teacher presents. It's moving again. Why are we moving? This camera's having a bit of a funny 5 minutes. But yeah, little presents or little bags to put a little present in, or Easter eggs for a friend, or, you know, like kids' friends and stuff like that. I know a little girl's probably going to want this. So, yeah, I'll probably have to make another one as well. Thanks for watching. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye for now.